We are talking tears, baby. And for once, as a Jet fan, we're not talking about tears running down our cheeks. We're talking about draft tears. All right. What is the best possible scenario that the Jets could have at pick number 10? And what's the worst? What's the worst thing they could do? Find out right here, right now. Boy Green Meets Woody is live.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Welcome. It is another episode of Boy Green Meets Woody. It is your boy, James Woody. We got an exciting episode today talking about tears. I cannot wait to see what Boy Green has to say is the best and the worst for the Jets out of possible scenarios for the 10th pick of this draft. Boy Green, kind of in the shadows today. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I told fans that are fans of the Boy Green Meets Woody show, and they watch his show, that I'd be in a new locale coming soon, and today is the first day. I am at the radio station basically all week from now in April till September, basically, all the way up until football season. So hopefully this helps us get all the way through. But I'll be at the radio station from the morning till night for all these days in a row. So it'll be every Boy Green Meets Woody basically now for the next bunch of months. But it's exciting because we've got the new background. We're in a different place. I've got new mentality, new energy, new whatever that'll be entering the fray here, which I'm excited about. And I will also tell you, I think my family's excited because, the thought of like, I've got a 2-year-old daughter at home. I've got a baby mama at home, like they're saying to themselves, like, 3:00, here comes Boy Green Meets Woody. And then they must have a very different reaction than the fans because they're like, got to go out for a walk, got to go out and do this. So they got to do their gosh darn show in the middle of the house. So I bet my family stock up on me leaving the house and now doing this from my radio station, I believe. Yeah.
Well, hey, we all appreciate you putting in those hours, putting in the hours to give the people what they want, right? We can only hope that the Jets scouting staff is doing the same because right now, all right, it seems as if Joe Douglas is cooking up a little something this offseason, but the exclamation point, if you will be a fantastic Joe Douglas New York Jets draft. I mean, we've definitely seen one. We've seen one, and it's still paying off tremendous dividends. We will be talking about how we can make it a second one. Let's start off that draft right with the 10th overall pick. What are the best possible ways? And I hope they are doing their homework, Boy Green.
Yeah, as am I, because the good news is that the Jets, and Joe Douglas deserves a lot of credit because he's done a lot of great work, and he's eliminated a lot of the worst case scenarios for me. So again, I'll give this to Joe Douglas real quick. I'll give him his flowers, no question about it, that because of everything they've done, they've minimized. They haven't completely eliminated, as we'll find out soon, the worst case scenarios. But with everything that they've filled so far, offensive line, obviously, Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, John Simpson, Mike Williams, like if they miss something in the first round, it's not going to be like, oh, geez, how devastating. What a crippling blow for the New York Jets. I feel pretty strongly about that. But there are still some ways that they can F it up. And we'll be discussing that here shortly.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you. It's WrestleMania week. So you had to, hit us with the theme song. I will definitely be watching this weekend to see The Rock. Oh my God, some of the guys that will be performing in Philly, right?
That's right, Philadelphia. And I will say on Sunday, I was at WWE Syracuse. So they came to town. It was an in-house show. And I found out that night, which kind of made sense if you started to do the math with how many days were left. Cody Rhodes at the end, like, addresses the crowd. He's like, this was our final wrestling match before Mania. So there's going to be some talking and everything going on throughout the week. Monday Night Raw, which was the previous night and stuff. But he said, this was our final time competing in the ring before I lace up the boots. And he gave this cool passion thing. I was like, holy crap, wow, this was literally the last stop on the road to WrestleMania. So yeah, I'm fired up for Mania as well, for all our wrestling fans out in the audience. It's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. We'll acknowledge him. Let's acknowledge.
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge. Let's start this game because I'm excited. And pretty much, right, we got 4 tiers, right, in terms of, top tier is, this is amazing. As a matter of fact, Boy Green, do you have titles? Do you have titles for these tiers?
I do. Yeah.
All right, let's let the fans know.
Okay, so we'll go through these different tiers and stars and give more details as we go through each. So I'll start at the top 1%. This is the Dreamboat, is how I have it labeled on here on my sheet. This is the Dreamboat scenario. Like, it's happening. Joe Douglas has achieved the final Infinity Stone. Jet fans are losing their mind. Next stop, Super Bowl. Like, that's Dreamboat as the top. Are we going back and forth, or am I just unloading all of these here?
Unload away, unload.
Okay, so Dreamboat number 1, top option, numero uno. That's number there. It's the Dreamboat option. The next is, in a way, I kind of reference, I guess, to use the wrestling thing, the greatness of Bret Hart. We're getting a great haul. It's not the perfect haul, but it's a great haul, like a great package of assets, a great solid. I don't even want to say solid. It's great. It's Tony the Tiger. Great. It's the great haul. That's where I am for Tony T. To put the second one. So not quite the top, but not too bad. It's right there. It's a 75% if we're going to kind of evaluate it in that range. And then there is it's the girl that I am not feeling great about bringing home to mama to meet the parents. Like, solid, not spectacular, but solid. Right there is that tier. It's the solid tier that, like, we're outside the door and I'm like, should we do this? Should I really, introduce you to my parents? We're kind of on that, where I'm kind of, we'll flip a coin and see what happens. And then finally, the absolute natural disaster tier. Like, this is the worst possible scenario for the New York Jets that has some level of realism, whether it's 0.1%, 5%, 10%, what have you. The worst possible case is something the Jets could actually do on draft day, and it would make me infuriated with the pick, and I'd be rushing over to this mock studio to rant about it. Yeah. That's the tiers.
So there you have it. The 4 tiers. Dreamboat.
Yes.
All right, we sailing away, top of the heap, and then Great Hall. Great Hall. Yeah. So, great, nice.
Tony the Tiger. Yeah.
Yeah, great. But, not exactly dream. I'm still awake. I'm not asleep.
Yeah.
Solid, which might even be giving it too much credit, because I like solid things, but this might be something that we don't care for too much. And then the natural disaster, red alert, sound the alarm.
That's right.
Ew, ew, ew.
Yeah,
terrible. So we already know some things that could happen on draft night. Let's dig in. Let's start.
Okay.
So I'll go first.
Okay, sure.
I will talk about red alert. Sound the
right
alarm.
off the top. Okay.
I have 2 things.
2
that I won't break my TV. All right. I'm not one of those.
I'm not either, but yeah.
And I honestly, I don't know if there are too many of those. I feel like they just do it for the social media. But number 1 on red alert is drafting another edge rusher.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
At number 10, are you serious?
No. I'm not questioning it. Like, I guess my questioning it was, it's okay. You have to leave the door because it's possible, because it's the Jets. But I just feel like with Hassan Reddick, that to me, so this was, I'll give you that. the Jets drafting an edge rusher at 10 has been in this disaster red alert scenario for in the back of my mind. It's the schizophrenia. It's the little whispers that, Paul, it's possible. And I'm like, no, it's not. Or the Batman Green Goblin scene where the mask is sitting there on the dumpster. It's like, yeah, this is it. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. So, like, there is a little bit of that with the pass rusher, but I think a lot of that, for me, anywho, was quelled with the Hassan Reddick thing. Now I think that it went from a very small percentage chance, whatever it was, to zero. But to your point, maybe it's not zero. So,
I mean, we thought Will was zero. We thought Will.
I guess that's true.
So that's in my red alert.
Okay.
And this might be a little controversial. I will also add drafting a QB 10th overall.
Okay.
/ trading up to be a natural disaster.
Okay. Let me just clarify. For your trading up, it's trading up for a quarterback, or is it just trading up in
specifically
general?
grabbing a quarterback?
Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So really, it's QB, all QB related. With the 10th overall pick or trading that pick for a QB, that's all red alert.
Okay,
they are going all in this year. Look at, we can talk about all the names that the Jets brought in, but a lot of them are 1-year deals, 1-year rentals, and you're going to waste that opportunity on drafting one. It's time to be all in. You already know the PTSD that I have from drafting Will McDonald, who did not play any significant portion of snaps. They cannot do that again this year. The only way it's acceptable to me is if it's an offensive lineman, quarterback, to get somebody to just sit there and hold clipboards for Tyrod Taylor, who's holding clipboards for Aaron Rodgers, is just crazy to me. Oh my Lord, that is red alert, waste of a pick in a year that we only have this year. After this, Tyron Smith is gone, Mike Williams is gone. This is the time. Go all in, full throttle, all gas, no brakes.
Wow. Okay. So I will agree with you on the defender thing. Again, if they do that, that is just a hard thing to understand with everything they've done. Because like right now, I think there are still even people going, how is Will McDonald getting on the field as 4th on the depth chart? Boy, if he's 5th or whatever, however you would organize with a Dallas Turner or something, wow, that'd be a hard pill to swallow, or Jared Verse or whoever your guy is. So I agree with you there. That's in the natural disaster territory. But I'm going to be a bit more specific on the disaster in which you just previewed. Because, well, let me just tell you, and let me just tell the world. My disaster pick, which would infuriate me to no end, is if the New York Jets selected Bo Nix in the draft, 10th overall. If they selected him specifically. I'm specifically not high on him. I don't love that idea of selecting him. I think he's a guy that was at Oregon, this kind of system quarterback that threw a lot of stuff behind the line of scrimmage. And he had this insane completion percentage, which people were like, oh, look, Chad Pennington. And I'm like, nah. That's not what I see. I just see a guy in a gimmicky bubble screen ass offense that did a lot of stuff that I don't think is going to translate unless he's playing for like the San Francisco 49ers and he's just in that kind of system. I don't think he would thrive here with the Jets. Now, why I don't put the overall quarterback position in there, and this might be a hot take, this might be sizzling. If the Jets with the 10th overall pick shock the draft and Roger Goodell comes up and announces that with the 10th overall pick, the New York Jets select quarterback Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington, I would have, of course, the stunned nature of like, what? And then I would like look around and smile because I love Michael Penix Jr. So if they did that with all the flexibility they created in free agency, to me, he would be the one because the other 4, I mean, anything can happen in the draft, but the temperature from everyone I talk to is the 4 quarterbacks are either going the first 4 picks in the draft or at worst inside the top 6, where the Giants are like the last net of defense to grab the 4. And the 4 in any order, Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and Jaden Daniels in whatever order. So then if that's the case, then the only quarterbacks that could be on the board for the Jets are any of those guys not named them. So Bo Nix, disaster, natural disaster. I'm like, oh, geez, good Lord, have mercy. But Penix, I'm like, I like Penix. So again, I still put all this stuff in the disaster category, but Penix, because of the flexibility of everything they've done in free agency and trade, I'm like, hey man, we got a quarterback of hopefully the present and the future. He's 23, turns 24 in May, so he's an older prospect. He's had a lot of injuries, so there's a lot of clearances that has to happen before that pick can even come to fruition. The Jets medical team have to clear him out, but for him to learn from Aaron Rodgers, and they both throw perhaps the most beautiful ball in all football, college football and NFL together, same room to absorb that. Hey man, I'm a little quiet, like it's a lower register. Hey, I'd be okay with yeah, this is ASMR now. I'd be okay with Michael Penix. So I would be. Yeah.
That is that's crazy. I literally can't. Let me not say that's crazy. That's not crazy. Everyone's obviously entitled to their opinion. And I do like Penix. Like, it's not, I'm not even saying
you do too.
it's
Okay.
a bad quarterback. But to use that 10th overall pick on anyone that plays that position, I just feel like is an abomination.
I love you say you can have an opinion, but that'd be an abomination. That would be an abomination of epic proportions. That'd be the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. I love that. So, yeah, that's my disaster. Again, it's defender. I agree with you there. But really, Bo Nix specifically, I am singling him out specifically as Bo Nix. Yes.
So then technically is Penix, he's in the next tier? He's in the solid tier?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because this is literally what we're doing, I suppose. So, yeah. Actually, no. I think you'd be a little higher. I think you'd be a little higher on the tiers. Because, that's an exciting thing, taking a quarterback. That can't just be a solid thing. You take a quarterback, that's not solid. I think you have to have – there's no way that you take a quarterback and you don't have an extreme reaction to it. Like either awesome or terrible. Like, I don't think you're just like, yeah, that's a solid selection right there. What a solid guard to plug into the lineup. Like, no. It's either you're crazy for it or you're crazy against it. I think those are the only two choices. So no, if I was to categorize that tier that I just said, that'd probably go in my great Tony the Tiger tier.
All right. Well, then let's hear your solid tier. What comes in there?
Okay. This is for me meh. This is solid. This is fine. This is, as a lot of people like to say, eating your vegetables. You have to do it, I guess, to have a healthy body, although I've been ignoring vegetables for a long time, unless you consider potatoes. I just had some potatoes with my hamburger here at the radio station. Shout out to my beautiful fiance for preparing me some meals while I'm here all day. So if fried potatoes count as French fries, then yes, I just had a vegetable a little bit ago. But this tier of players that I'm talking about would be in this category. And it's any offensive lineman not named Joe Alt. That's just the best way to put it. If it's Joe Alt, obviously, we're talking about a different category, a little higher. But if the person is not named Joe Alt and they have any other name, to me, that's just solid. I'm not going to complain about it because I talked about it, I think, on the morning show and maybe another show this week. Wudi, do you know? I'm going to try to see if I can phrase this in the way of a trivia question. I might not be able to. How big... yeah, I don't. Okay, I wish I could because I love playing trivia, but I don't think I will be able to phrase this in a trivia, so I would just reveal it. The Jets had a gap of time between 2007 and 2019 that they did not take an offensive lineman in the first round. The players from one side of the sandwich to the other are this. In 2006, the Jets selected DeBrickashaw Ferguson and Nick Mangold. And then the next time they selected an offensive lineman in the first round was Mekhi Becton in 2020. That is the gap of time. There is a 14-year-old that's somewhere in the universe that did not see an offensive lineman in the first round in that gap of time, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's true. So you think Mekhi Becton, whoa, Nick Mangold, like they seem from different eras, and in a lot of ways they are. So it was straight up neglect, straight up negligence, straight up whatever word you want to say for the Jets to ignore a positional group that is so important to the offensive line. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen the quote, you could probably see it from Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh. He spoke at the NFL Combine, and they asked him about the offensive line, and he said in this passionate 2-3 minute rant, I hope you guys could check it out on Twitter. He said, there is no positional group in the NFL that can be awesome on their own without relying on anybody. and that's the offensive line. He said you can have a kick-ass offensive line. It doesn't matter whatever is happening at any other position. And he went through the whole shish kebab: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. They need, like, wide receiver needs someone to throw them the ball. The quarterback needs good protection and all these other, and even defense, he said, like an offense going on a 12-play 10-minute drive helps the hell out of the defense. But on the other side, as Jets offense, as we saw this past year, 3 and out, 30 seconds, defense back out there like, gee, salute. So good offensive line even helps them. So he made this very passionate plea about it. So it's really cool. Long story short, I would not be upset by an offensive line pick, especially after that neglect we saw over a 14-year period. But it's not something that I'm fist pumping for because the Jets have Tyron Smith and Morgan. If they didn't have Tyron Smith and Morgan, this would be in a much higher category because it would be such a need. To me, it's not a need. It's solid. It's meh if we want to categorize it in all these. If you Google synonyms for solid, meh may be one of the things that comes up. But it's just, there's no, woo, they got Tyler Guyton, woo, you know what I mean? So to me, that's like basically the entire tier is solid, not a real reaction, although I'll have reaction to everything because I'm so passionate about the team. But, from just a filling a need standpoint of, wow, we got Will McDonald again, except this time he plays offense. Great. He's not going to play a lot of snaps. That's basically what it is. So it's just solid. It's meh. Any offensive lineman not named Joel.
I can't believe you took all that time to describe the incredible Jim Harbaugh quote, which I did see.
Yeah.
Just to then say, oh, it's meh, when literally that is the life force of this offense that has been so poor for so long. It's been the horrific offensive line. And to add to that, to you is meh. I'm ashamed. I'm actually ashamed.
Wow.
Tyron Smith, let's not say we know, but it has been a very long time since he has played every game.
So you're saying he's due. That's what you're saying.
No, that's actually the exact opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying that depth is actually extremely important. When we had the top 5 biggest holes to replace, swing tackle, what is the highest on both of our lists that haven't been added? Because I think we had wide receiver 2 and Mike Williams, bang, bang, there he is. But now swing tackle is something, and apparently that's meh to you. You know, Tyron Smith, he goes down.
Hey, Carter Warren, pal. We're covered.
Oh, we're covered. Okay. All right, Damian. So, in my solid category,
sure.
And this, I know this is going to be controversial, but I'm ready. All right, I am ready.
Oh boy! When you have to start a point that way.
All right. The Jets are at a deficit for draft capital, right? Don't have a second round pick this year.
Yeah.
I repeat, do not want to give up more capital. So trading up, all right, I said trading up for a QB was a disaster. Trading up for any other position is meh. Giving up, I am not willing to give up a premium pick for Devontae Adams. First round pick next year for Devontae Adams? No, thank you. Why would I be doing that for some boy that refuses to work out in front of anybody? Does he work out in front of a mirror? I don't even know.
Oh, wait, time out. I think you mentioned the wrong name then. You've been saying Devontae Adams this whole time. You mean Marvin Harrison Jr.?
No, I said Devontae Adams. I said if I wouldn't do that for Devontae Adams,
I see.
Why would I?
Oh, I see.
For Marvin Harrison Jr. Yeah, I'm not giving up premium picks. I mean that, and we used to agree, Boy Green, that first round pick for next year, that is your safety valve. If Aaron Rodgers goes down again, need that pick. Even if the Jets win the Super Bowl, I still think you need that pick. That is the pick that you can draft the Aaron Rodgers successor. It doesn't have to be a top 5 pick to be a successor. Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, these are guys who were drafted in the first round who sat behind talented veterans and were great successors. So that first round pick of next year is golden. I will not give that up for anybody. Second round pick next year, I'm still not trying to give that up. I will pass on trading up. But if they do it, and it's like, we got Marvin Harrison Jr., the boy who doesn't work out in front of anybody, doesn't work in front of any mirrors, doesn't work out in front of anybody. All right, cool. All right, man, that's it.
So let me get the because you're just a liar, okay? You and your family, you just put a stain on your entire family. So you're telling me, okay? It's draft day, okay? 4 quarterbacks go, boom, 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 for the first time in NFL history. So at 5th overall, the Chargers are sitting there, and they have everyone on the board not named, or excuse me, everyone on the board that isn't a quarterback, basically. So all the wide receivers, all of them are out there. You're telling me that if the Jets called and trade up, and on your screen you see Rich Eisen go to his ear like he's an FBI agent, Justin, we've got a trade. Roger Goodell is doing a power walk, Mac Jones style, up to the podium. Beep, boop, pop. Whoa, we got a trade here. The New York Jets are traded up with the LA Chargers. With the 5th overall pick, they select wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. You're going to be like, meh. You're going to go solid. You're going to go, oh, boy. Or I guess because this is lower to the bottom than it is the ceiling in our 4-tier category. So you're closer to, geez, I can't believe they did this. That's what you're saying. And as Wild Wave here talks about, the cheaper contract, Marvin's on a cheaper deal. Paul, Woody trying to keep us from winning. Like, on YouTube. Come on, Woody. Be honest with the people.
I'm going to say, how much did it cost? How much did it cost?
And you want to know what I'll do? And you want to know what I'll do Thanos style? Everything. But what did it cost? Everything.
That's not good. That's not good. Then who is the Rodgers successor? You cannot throw I don't even understand the infatuation with this shiny toy. I do not understand.
You don't understand?
I don't.
Oh, okay. What way would you like me to present that to you, sir? Statistically speaking, his name, the house of his name, the Harrison residence.
Is he a Targaryen? He's a Targaryen?
I would say he's got dragon blood. That's what I would say. I think if he goes caw, a dragon's flying in.
So are you saying you are saying right now you would give up next year's first round pick to move up 5 spots for Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Let me put up this Wild Wave quote in the words of Les Need, F them picks. If I call the Chargers from 10 to 5 and I'm like, hey, I'd like to move up. They're like, it'll cost you your first rounder next year. I'll be like, okay, send it in. That's what I would do.
That's crazy.
I want to make this clear as a draft fan and a draft enthusiast, and you guys will see that as we get even closer to the draft. We're going to be doing our first Boy Green Wudi mock draft coming up later in the week, and we'll be doing several of them before the draft, which I'm excited about. I'm in no rush. It's not like it's the first round picks in my back pocket. It's on fire, and I'm like, ooh, how can I get rid of this thing? Ooh, hot potato. That's not how I feel. But if the cost is the cost, and that's the cost of doing business, well, Chargers, you got yourselves a deal. Handshake. And by the way, it would be similar in a couple of ways. A little different, obviously, for obvious reason, but a little bit different. Not much different, excuse me, than the Hassan Reddick trade. So you're telling me the Jets go from 10 to 5, and the only thing they gave up, because that, to me, I think that's all you'd have to give up, and it's a lot, is the 2025 first. So the Jets just got better this year. Yeah, okay, next year there are things to worry about, but for me, my blinders are on. The only thing I'm paying attention to is 2024. Wow, the Jets just got the number 1 receiver in the 2024 NFL draft. And Wild Wave here says the Jets will get something in return back the other way. Okay. Do the Jets get the Chargers third this year or something to kind of work out the draft value chart? I don't know.
So then who was Aaron Rodgers' successor?
Tyrod Taylor. Double T.
I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna have people think, did they freeze up? Because
you let that sit for an uncomfortable amount of time.
You guys are playing Madden right now. Need that first round pick. You used to make you were the one that said this, Boy Green.
Wait a second. So you just asked me who's the successor to Aaron Rodgers next year? If he's one and done, they win the Super Bowl, he walks away.
No, I'm saying the successor to the Aaron Rodgers era. I didn't say that because I believe that Rodgers is playing next year.
I believe he's playing multiple years. But if, he wants to walk away after the Super Bowl win, then Dak Prescott, come on down. You're the new quarterback, baby. Boom. He's hitting free agency. Dak attack. Bring him out to the Jets. Yeah.
All right. I know your dad's a Cowboys fan. So It just seems like you want to hurt him at the cost of the Jets winning Super Bowls because Dak cannot win one. I
Oh,
don't care what's around him.
but while Wave, it will say this: we're drafted someone in the later rounds this year. So Jordan Travis, who's our successor? We're already going to get it this year. I'm pretty convinced that the Jets are drafting a late round quarterback this year in some form or fashion. Travis,
I also
Brad,
think that,
whoever.
but I'm also a very firm believer that late round quarterbacks don't do anything. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott,
Wait,
if
don't do
we
anything.
had,
What do you mean? Those are two great examples of fourth
what
rounders.
did they win? What have they won?
Oh,
What
come
did they
on.
win? Did they have they won anything? Do they have an MVP? Anyone? What do they have? Tell me, Boy Green.
What? So you want a
Oh,
quarter? So
so
wait,
they-
I just want to understand. You want a quarterback that was drafted in the let's call it day 3, so fourth and on, basically, because that's where Dak and Kirk Cousins, a couple of these guys were. You want one of those guys that's won a Super Bowl. That's the list you want me to do. Yeah, which Brady. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. He's on there.
So we have one guy, right? One guy, and then people want to bring up Brock Purdy. Who is developing any of these late round guys? Because I know it's not Nathaniel Hackett. Who is developing? I mean, Kyle Shanahan has a system. Brady was an anomaly, right? We're talking about. I love how people bring up one anomaly and then say that's the standard. That's the standard. Like that's something that happens.
Nick Foles. Nick Foles. He won one.
People say that again.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Nick Foles.
Okay, I'll give you another one. I've got,
or he's somebody who won one game.
Hey, I've got the list of quarterbacks in here that the starting quarterback for each of these teams that won the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson, he was a day 3 pick. He won a Super Bowl.
Where is Russell? So that's what you guys want. You guys want late round quarterbacks. The rarer, right? Where Pete Carroll is a great coach. We do not have a great coach. We don't have anybody to develop these people. We need people that are ready made. There's nobody here to develop any of these late round guys. I know Aaron Rodgers can help, but where's the coaching?
I got another one for you. Got another one.
What system did we have when Aaron went down?
Hey,
what system are they going to have when Aaron retires?
I've got more quarterbacks for you. Brad Johnson was drafted in the 9th round in 1992, baby. Super Bowl winning quarterback, Brad Johnson. Okay, he's on the list.
All right, let's go 40 more years to try to find more examples.
Let me see. I've got one other name I want to double check here. I can't remember when he was drafted, so let me make sure I get this one. Where was he? Where the hell was this guy drafted? Oh boy. Let me see. Where the hell was this guy drafted? He was. Oh no, I can't use him.
I see you putting up the comments that support your argument, but you don't put up the ones. So I see my people in the chat. FPP.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure.
Yeah, of course not. You need new prescription glasses that you're gonna only see one side of the equation.
I just got these glasses. So this is my first time changing glasses in like 15 years. So anywho, yeah, I give you a lot. I gave you a lot of names there. A lot of names. Okay, pal. A lot of names. Brad Johnson, Russell Wilson.
So I prefer a first round. Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson. These are the types of people.
What have they won? What have they won? Nothing.
What do you mean? Lamar's a 2-time MVP,
but no Super Bowl. That's what you mentioned about Dak and all these other guys.
I said, did they win an? They have literally not won.
What is an MVP? That's an individual award.
But what are you talking about? They developed into great players.
And so did Geno Smith developed into a great player. And
did he? Does he? What are you talking about?
Ah, jeez. He won comeback player of the year, man.
Comeback player of the year, the same thing that Joe Flacco won for 5 weeks. Oh,
well, that one's insulting, but
my bad. I'm telling you right now, the first rounders that is the blue chip. Okay, Dak has literally never seen a conference title game. Neither has Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has he even won a playoff game? He won one, I believe.
He beat the Saints in New Orleans when he was on the Vikings. Yes.
Oh, the miracle, right? Oh no, that was
no. You're thinking about another one. That was Case Keenum. But no, Kirk Cousins was playing on the road in New Orleans, and he won his first and only
playoff win for Kirk. No MVPs. Dak 0 conference championships or like appearances. No MVPs. Lamar Jackson
Warner, another good name. Grocery bagger.
Kurt Warner, baby. Yes, there's a movie about him. Yes, that's true.
American Underdog. It's a great movie.
There
Yeah.
will be no movie about Jordan Love because it's so
No.
common for first-round quarterbacks to succeed. There is no movie. Okay, I understand it's so cute to work at Whole Foods and then all of a sudden become an NFL MVP. But I'm talking about let's do the tried and true path to greatness, not throw it away for a shiny toy when Garrett Wilson exists. All right, you don't need.
How about this? I want you to answer this question. We just got this from Wild Wave. Next year's a terrible quarterback class. I'm supposed to give up an opportunity of drafting a generational wide receiver for a less talented quarterback class? Question mark. And this is us at the press conference. What do you make of this, Wudi? There's the mic. Speak into the mic.
Yes.
Answer this question.
Yes, you do not need.
Oh.
It's about need. It's about fit. What do you mean? You have your two outside guys right now. You do not need to give up more assets for Marvin
Who's the
Harrison
slot
Jr. It's as
receiver?
simple as
Who's
that.
the slot receiver?
Xavier Gibson.
Oh,
Or
come on.
we're gonna move up these tiers and we're gonna see certain options that could play.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
All right.
All right, where am I moving now?
Did you hit us with your solid option?
I did. Any offensive lineman not named Joe Alt, which you made fun of for the last 20 minutes.
Well, then
So,
I said trading up for any non QB, which you made fun of. So here we go. Great haul. My turn or your
Sure.
turn?
But please go ahead. Yeah.
All right.
This is your
Great
show. now.
haul.
Yeah.
Number one on that list is somebody you actually already named. Joe Alt.
That's only in the great category?
Bro, you had him in solid. Are you for real?
No, I didn't have Joe Alt in solid. I said any offensive lineman not named Joe Alt is what I had. Yeah. So, yeah. So watch your so watch your tongue, pal. But yeah, so again, he's in the great category. He didn't even make best case scenario. Wow. Okay.
Stop it.
Hater.
Stop it. You know how much I love Joe Alt. I
I
don't do that. I literally have not sung for anybody. I'm singing for Joe Alt. The only reason why he is not an absolute dream scenario is because of what you've already said, that he is not supposed to play this year. And I'm so opposed to the, wasting the first round pick on somebody who's not going to play. Obviously, if somebody goes down, oh my Lord, would I love to have Joe Alt. Even if somebody doesn't go down, Joe Alt for the next year moving forward, that's all pro caliber. Like the left tackle position is complete. Have him sit behind a Hall of Famer.
That's not
and then
all pro
become one
caliber. That's all great caliber according to your category. Not all pro caliber. That's all great caliber.
The top tier isn't Dream Pro. What are you talking about? It's a great haul. So yes, all pro caliber. It is a tremendous get. But again, it's somebody who's not gonna, who might not play. If you're saying Tyron Smith is due for a full season, then he's not gonna play.
Yeah,
that's that. And then number two in that great haul, of course, are names that people have probably been waiting to hear: Malik Neighbors, Odunze. Here's my thing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know you guys are starved for. We just got. So does Mike Williams not matter? Like, does he not exist? This sandwich was in vain.
I'll tell you the thing that scares me, and maybe I'm overreacting to a press conference comment, and I'll admit that's possible. So I was here on Mike Williams, like over the moon. Wow, Mike freaking Williams, this is terrific. What a great wide receiver too. Perfect compliment to Garrett. And then Robert Saleh opened his mouth at the annual league meeting and said I'm going to butcher it now, but I'm paraphrasing. He is a long way to go, something of that nature. And that caught me off guard because he had been recovering for 5 months. I'm like, a long way to go. Maybe that's just a phrase of speech, but he knows that everything he says at the presser is going to get run through town and everywhere else. So as soon as he said that I was taken aback. I went, wow. And then no training camp. That one didn't surprise me. Okay, he's not going to be ready, is by all accounts what Douglas said. And then they're like, yeah, he should be ready by week 1. And I'm like, ooh, should be ready. And this maybe, again, goes back to our thing that we argued about a bunch of weeks ago about our perception of Allen Lazard. And if he has to hold down the fort for a handful of weeks or whatever it looks like, we feel differently about that. But boy, that one just totally shifted everything. I still think Mike Williams is awesome, and I love the money. I love how it all set up. And again, if he plays well, he's going to get paid a lot of money. But that long way to go thing completely changed my perception at wide receiver for the New York Jets for the present and future.
Well, I mean, that's the thing that they were saying about Brees, though, and we knew it wasn't true.
Did they?
At least
though?
I knew.
Did
What?
they say, like, when Brees was recovering and they were in the offseason, did they say, oh, boy, he's got a long way to go? And
Yeah,
maybe
they did. And they did say that he was going to miss training camp and that they hope to have him.
yeah, but I remember the optimism and the seeing him running and all that stuff, and we are like, whoa, okay, this dude is playing. He was doing cutting. He was like seemingly progressing through all these steps. We're like, wow, look at this guy. He's going through. And again, we haven't had the opportunity to see Mike yet, obviously, because activities don't start for another week, 2-3 weeks, something like that. Somewhere in the next 3 weeks. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head. I tweeted it out a week or two ago. It is here in April that we should see players running around. And again, that won't be him, but I am kind of curious to see the progression here as we get through OTAs and stuff. But, I remember Brees check him through a lot of boxes pretty quick.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think I'm talking about specifically the quotes. I think the quotes are similar. We don't have the footage. The footage and the quotes are separate. I was seeing the footage and not understanding the quotes because they were saying, oh, he's missing training. It's going to be a long time away. Now we just don't have footage from Mike Williams, but the quotes are saying the same message. So I'm
Okay.
not too worried about that. And also, like you said, we're on different pages. I don't think Lazard is just useless. I still, this is something different. I won't go too hard on this, but
Sure.
there were people talking about Jason Brownlee, and I don't even know. The summer star of the year doesn't matter to anybody anymore. I just there are two different things when talking about neighbors Odunze. I know Odunze has that relationship with Garrett. Garrett's actually kind of been campaigning for Odunze to come.
And by the way, just real quick, we heard this from Jordan Schultz before we started. He is doing his top 30 visit tomorrow. Rome Odunze will be at the Jets facilities tomorrow.
So I do like it. Well, like I said, great haul. Like that's if I put Joe Alt in there, that should tell you the company of neighbors in Odunze. That's good to have somebody, without giving up a pick, right? Have somebody for the future. I do not trust Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know if that sounds crazy to you. It sounds very sane to me, where now you got three outside options.
Mm-hmm.
And now you gotta kind of rotate. You gotta fix up your scheme, fix up your looks, be creative in a way to get all three guys involved. I mean, if that's Andy Reid, okay. If that's Kevin O'Connell, okay. Nathaniel Hackett, I prefer to give him square pegs for that square hole. I do not like to give him triangles. All right. I don't want to give him no parallelograms. Just square. Nathaniel, here's the square. All right, put it into that square hole. So that's why it's great. No reason to go sailing yet.
Yeah, the only pushback I would say is I don't think he has to create rocket science here. If Odunze are neighbors for your great category we're talking about here, they're added. Garrett and Mike have proven they can play in the slot too. And then we have to dive into the player profile of whoever this specific player we'd be talking about. But it sounds like you don't have to reinvent the wheel, that any of them, especially Garrett, he's just nasty in the slot because there's like nothing you could do. There's no boundary to use, the out of bounds boundary to use to try to contain him on one side. Like when he's in the slot, he's even more dangerous because he could go left, right, up, down, everywhere. So I don't think we need something great. Now, if you want to talk about Brock Bowers, who I'll just come out and say it. That's in my Tony the Tiger great category, would be Brock Bowers for me. He's in this tier for me. Now, if you want to get, hey, Paul, Hackett using Bowers to his full ability, I'd go, okay, well, there's not much I can say there about being able to maximize him, because for a tight end, you have to work to feed him the ball. There are orchestrated touches you can do. And again, we've seen all kinds of craziness, like in the backfield, that's for the creativity. If you don't trust Hackett, I can understand the Brock Bowers pick will fall short for some people because, boy, will Hackett be able to do it. Now, again, I could be naive here. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to cure a lot of our ails here by Aaron Rodgers just being Aaron Rodgers and going Bluebird 22 Cobra 8484, and he's just like moving people around and just dumping off and doing all kinds of stuff, and then the magic will all kind of flow, and then Hackett and Rodgers, who have this relationship, the pieces will just kind of come together like a puzzle. But I would understand from that perspective of Brock Bowers not being able to be unlocked. I feel less that way about the wide receiver, especially if Mike Williams has a long way to go. Then okay, Garrett Wilson and this new rookie receiver, they're playing a bunch. And then when Mike Williams comes back in, you figure out where everyone's lining up.
We're going to talk about Bowers in a little bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, I would just, that's my really, I'm kind of just shoving it solely here in my great category would be Bowers. He'd be a guy that I'd be great. And they could stay there at 10. They could trade back to get him. All of that, I'm feeling great. I don't think it's like the best case scenario. I just think it's great and very realistic because I think in every scenario that plays out in all these mock drafts that eventually we'll do and show, Brock Bowers is always there. And if he's always there, that's a safety. That's a security blanket, which is what tight ends are supposed to be for the quarterback position.
All right. Well, allow me to say that the best possible thing
sure. Yeah.
that could happen to the New York Jets this April. Dreamboat.
Yeah, Dreamboat.
Get that sail up. We on the water, baby. Is drafting Brock Bowers 10th overall.
Wow.
With that pick. You guys are bugging. This is a guy. We talking about, they saying George Kittle doesn't do it justice.
That's
and they
true.
could be wrong.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Even if we're talking about Laporta level, which is still fantastic. What's his name? Dalton Kincaid level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We've already seen, you want to talk about Hackett, tight ends? We already saw Tyler Conklin get plays dialed up for him where he had plenty of yak opportunities. All right. Conklin looked good. I like Conklin. Moving forward with Conklin and Ruckert, I can sleep well at night. But you want to talk about Brock Bowers, the Yak King, in those same plays, those same dial-ups? Give me that all day. That completely transforms the offense, not only for just now, but moving forward with the Aaron Rodgers successor. We can disagree whether he's drafted this year, late or early next year, whenever he's drafted, whenever he's on the team, there's a guarantee by doing this that they have the ultimate security blanket. They'll have one of the best tight ends in football as their security blanket. We hope, we can only pray that Garrett Wilson will also be on the team at that time. And now you have a very solid passing attack for this person to inherit, hopefully with an offensive line. But at the very least, that tight end, that rookie QB's best friend, that Mark Andrews to young Lamar Jackson, they will have that. That George Kittle to young Brock Purdy, who you guys keep talking about in the comments, all right? Brock Bowers is the best possible option for now and then. It's truly perfection. And it's not a dig on Conklin. I love Conklin. Boy Green knows I might be the biggest Rucker fan out there. I think he's a stud. But there's a difference between stud and generational talent.
Yes.
And that's it. Brock Bowers. The only other thing that I put in this dream boat scenario is actually a trade down. Trading down gives you the option to now recover that second round pick that we're missing. I've been complaining about draft capital this whole time, but by trading down and securing a second round pick, now you put into place an option where you can draft an offensive tackle, right? And secure, if we want to trust Carter, we can trust Carter, but if not, then you can secure somebody and then still draft a Ricky Pearsall, someone who is clearly a slot receiver, so that Nathaniel Hackett does not put that chalk down, Nathaniel. Put that marker down, Nathaniel. He is a slot receiver. You don't have to do anything else. Put him in the slot. Ricky Pearsall with that late tackle, right? I like Troy Fontanu because what he brings is that AVT element. Guard, tackle, guard, right? He can be Troy or he can be Groy, right? I like that. My dream boat scenario where we are on the water, okay? Mimosas in hand. Brock Bowers, 10th overall, or trading down for that tackle receiver combo. Give me all that.
Wow. A lot to unpack there, for sure. I would say that as I get to my dreamboat category, number one on this is, and maybe I'm going to, what's the best way to put this? Maybe I'm going to, lean into the fans and give them what they want, like, you have the Dave Bautista, Hunter, all these wrestling references this week. Give me what I want, So if you look up that Dave Bautista gif, that'll come up where he's in his shades, he's spitting at the mic like, give me what I want. And I will give you people what you want. It's trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm making the call. Now, I will tell you that in my mock draft I did for Boy Green Daily on Monday, the 7-round mock, I actually had the Jets moving up to 8 to the Falcons and getting the last of the receivers. Which in most mocks that I've done is Rome Odunze in all these scenarios, which is Rome. And you don't have to give up a first next year. You don't even have to give up a second next year. According to the value chart, what I ended up having to give was a 4th rounder this year, and it was our later 4th rounder, so essentially a 5th rounder, and then a 3rd rounder next year. And that's all I had to give up to get a Dunze. So that one's kind of compelling if you're really hell-bent on not giving up the farm and moving up to 5 or 6 or wherever that would be. You can make a reasonable jump and still get one of those guys. Now, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1. I think he's an incredibly safe player. I think you know exactly what he is. He's going to be a superstar. And that's my number 1 of trading up, and I'm willing to pay that price. To pay him the price. But just to get one of the 3, I evaluate Neighbors and Odunze separately than Harrison, but still in that top 3 category of then there's a big difference to me at the Brian Thomas Jr.'s and all these other guys. To me, there's a difference. But if you can walk away with the Dunze, I still think that's best case scenario because you're not giving up a lot to get him. So my number 1 best case scenario is moving up for Harrison and paying the price that is necessary to do it, just because I think it's kind of the 49ers strategy a little bit. I think Buffalo Jet fan, I heard him say this on a show somewhere in the last bunch of weeks, that the 49ers mentality with their roster construction is having a bunch of superstars on the team and then filling out the rest of the roster with enough guys that it's good. And if you have enough blue chippers, that boat can carry. Now, that hasn't led to a Super Bowl, obviously, and that could be the criticism, but they've been in a bunch of NFC title games. They've been in a bunch of Super Bowls and things of that nature. So from that perspective, I think that's a compelling argument to make, is that Marvin helps you obviously now and gives you some injury insurance and helps you in the future. So that's the number 1 best case scenario is Marvin Harrison Jr. I would say, like I said, that Rome Odunze thing of making a smaller jump up if you want to be more reasonable, that one at 8. Falcons are going to get their defender anyway. I think the Falcons are hell-bent on grabbing a defensive player. And I don't think any other ones are going inside the top 10. So they could be compelled to move back with the Jets, still get what they want, and pick up some extra picks. So I think that could be a deal that works out for both sides. And I mentioned Joe Alt earlier. Yeah, you had a couple of requests, Woody. I just mentioned Joe Alt. Can you give us the Joe Alt theme song real quick for us? There you go. Beautiful. I need to put that on the soundboard. We will do that. But Joe Alt, to me, is the best case scenario, and I get it, that it would really go in a lot of different directions. That of getting a guy that would be in theory a backup. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's not even in theory. There's no way Joe Alt is putting Tyron Smith on the bench. And I don't care what people think of Joe Alt. And I think he's great. And my dad's a diehard Notre Dame fan, so I've heard all kinds of wonderful Alt stuff for a long time. But he'd be a backup. And he's not flipping over to right tackle to kicking off Morgan Moses, who's been an awesome right tackle for a long time. So, again, I think in that particular case, Alt would still be this best case scenario because that is premium insurance to me. I think grabbing some random tackle, with all due respect, Guyton, this, that, or the other, anyone, whoever is your favorite in the second tier, not named Joe Alt, while that's a really good insurance, that's not premium insurance. Joe Alt to me is premium insurance. Like that is like I got the full package. I went to the insurance agency and I said I want everything covered. I want a volcano covered. I want a hurricane covered. I want tornado coverage. I want your mama coverage. I want all coverage. And that's what Joe Alt is. He is the perfect coverage that covers any issue I may run into in the future. Water damage, mold in my basement, whatever. Joe Alt, whoop. Perfect coverage, and it just gets it all. So he would be my best case scenario, just because I would feel so awesome to have him, because I think he's an outstanding player, number one. Number two, he'd be learning from Tyron Smith, who I believe is the greatest offensive tackle of this generation. He's spectacular. He's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And for Joel to be ready right now, and then still, like, it's a first world problem that he's not playing to me. He's just seeing how Tyron Smith works and puts it all in, and inevitably he'll probably play from all the injury things and all the like that we talk about. It would just be awesome. So Joe Alt's in there. Marvin Harrison Jr. trade up is in there. The move up to 8 is in there. And really, quite frankly, coming away with any of the top 3 receivers in any form or fashion. One of them slips 10, which I guess is possible, or a potential trade up. And I think I saw a comment in here from somebody. Okay, let me answer this one real quick. So we got Julio jumping on. If you had him and needed him on the right side, would you use him? Yes, I think it's possible. I don't think it's like, I'm teaching him Guatemalan. He's like, geez, I really don't understand the lingo here. I don't think it's that. But from people that were there at the combine, I was not there, so I can't speak from firsthand, knowledge. But they said Joel did not look as natural, which makes sense, at right tackle when he was doing some of those drills. At left tackle, he's a left tackle. Of course, he doesn't look as natural. But if I had to, I guess I would. But I would probably confer with Joe Alt to see if that's something he'd be comfortable with doing. But it seems like he's a pure left tackle. In a perfect world, I want to keep guys where they're pure. We have the Elijah Vera tackle, Tucker. I just did that for you, Woody. We have that in the past, but I think we do need to kind of clean that up. And then someone else mentioned a comment about Neighbors. I lost it. But, there's a lot of hype about Neighbors. He blew up the pro day. Looks awesome. He'd be another exciting player, too. So, anywho, that should cover about all the bases.
Trade down. Didn't make a tier for you.
It did not.
I mean, it has to fit in one of those.
Well, let me just go to this category because I addressed it earlier, but I didn't fully address it. So, yes, you are right. I do have it listed here on the top of my handy-dandy sheet where I wrote down all these tiers. Another one on there is I mentioned Brock Bowers was in the great category of Tony the Tiger. So, a best-case scenario from this perspective is Brock Bowers, but no, not at 10 with the trade back. Now, that's going to take some careful meticulous knowledge of Joe Douglas. You know how we saw that was a Will McDonald draft where he's like, ooh, New England's going to trade this for this, and like kind of prognosticating. That's another part of the job. So it would take some careful prognostication so you don't lose the player. But boy, they talk in the room, hey, what do you think is the earliest Brock Bowers goes, right? They're at 10 and Brock Bowers on the board. They ask the rest of the room, how far do you think he's going to fall? Go around the room. 15 for sure, 18, whatever. And then find whatever that real range is, trade back to a spot before that, 14, because a lot of people say the Colts at 15 would be like, oh, the value's too great, even though they need corners or whoever it is. Do that, maximize the orange, pick up a third, pick up a second, pick up whatever, regardless of where it is. Pick up something of value. Don't just trade like, I'm trading 10 to 15 and we want nothing in return. Like, that's stupid. No, I'm not saying that, like, for no reason. But trade and get something of substantive value back and still get Brock Bowers. That is also in my best case scenario because I really like Brock Bowers a lot. And I think he could immediately plug in as a piece on this offense. And you pick up an asset. And now we're getting froggy. In theory, if they drop in 3-4 spots, let's just say, you pick up another top 100 pick. You have 2/3. And if you use those 2/3 to move up, you can move into the middle of the second round. And then you would have your second rounder if you wanted to go after whatever other position you didn't address. So, yes, let me, I guess, just clear that up, that I would go in that direction. Julio has a question for you, Woody. Bowers or Odunze if you had a chance on either? You had to pick one or the other. Both are on the board.
Don't pull out the pitchforks. But I'm going to take Bowers. Only because of fit. I think Odunze is the better. Like, if I'm pretty much any other team, if I'm the Giants, I'm taking Odunze. If I'm the Chargers, like other teams out there picking in the top 10. But I just think based on what the Jets have, both from a coaching staff and from personnel, right? I'm gonna go with Bowers. I just think he is the missing, like him. I just seeing Rodgers, Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Bowers, Brees is just something that I cannot stop smiling about. Like I just be giggling to myself. My wife's like, what are you laughing at? You saw something? Did you watch Curb the Enthusiasm the other day? I was like, I did, but I'm actually laughing about something else. I'm giggling about something else. Something's making me giddy, and it's that lineup.
Okay, I respect it. So yeah, that's basically the full list. So yeah, I'm glad that you forced it out of me with that proper peer pressure. But it is a trade down and still getting Bowers. That's in. So I have a lot of best case scenarios, and I think
that's the only person you would trade down for. Like you wouldn't trade down. Like you wouldn't trade down to 20 and get an offensive lineman.
I would. Like Connor, let's give a shout out to him. New York Fight Jets Talk. He had Schefter on his show like a week or two ago. Like one of his big I don't know, sticking points. I don't even know what to call it. Idea is, let's trade down to 22 with the Eagles and let's do it. To me, that's a big jump. And again, the Jets would get, as Schefter said on his show, a future first and their second and all kinds of things because that's such a massive trade back. So that's compelling. But boy, dropping all the way to 22 in an all-in season for me, like I would have to know who's at 22, and you wouldn't know that at the time. So it'd be a dangerous game, or hopefully maybe you're Monty Ossenford. If anyone watched that cool behind the scenes of the Cardinals, he was at 3, then he moved to 12, they moved back up to 6, and it's draft day, and he's like, yeah, F their picks. Let's move all these chess pieces around the board. He starts going wild. Like, sure, yeah, I'd be willing to do it. But I'm going to be honest, maybe it's because I'm not an offensive line expert. I can't discern the difference between any offensive lineman beyond Joe Alt and Olu. Like Olu and Joe Alt are pure left tackles. I see it. I understand it. Makes a ton of sense. But moving beyond those guys, I can't tell the difference between Fuaga and Fontenot. I can't tell the difference between Mims and Guyton. Like, to me, it's all kind of a mosh posh. If we're tiering people, that's in a big-ass community swimming pool is where all those guys are. And, that's basically what I'm doing. So I think to trade down that far is too risky for me. If, again, a handful of slots. So here's the thing that I guess feeds back into my Brock Bowers thing, right? So I told you that it's a calculation that you kind of read the room. Hey, how far do you think we could drop and still get Brock Bowers? Go beep, boop, pop. And let's say you F up. You're like, 15 for sure. And then he gets taken at 14. You're like, son of a biscuit. All right, let's get the offensive lineman right there or trade back even further to say, we lost our guy. Let's try to trade back again or something. So that's where I guess my offensive lineman comes into play. So that's like your what's the best way to put it? It's your backup plan, right? Okay, we're moving back with the hopes to draft Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers goes a pick before, and you kind of get surprised. Then you're like, all right, let's go with the next best offensive lineman, whoever's highest on our board. That would be compelling. And then you also have whatever day 2 pick you acquired by that trade back. So that would be in my list of scenarios, I suppose. But my best case, as this were, would be for Brock Bowers. And again, it's hard to complain if they do that trade back at one of the offensive linemen and still pick up an extra pick. That could be perceived as a best case scenario. Sure.
Fair enough. I like having, right, because I do think depth is needed on the offensive line.
I agree.
It's actually kind of overlooked, right? AVT has gone down so early 2 years in a row. Maybe AVT is lost again.
That's why it's very possible, by the way, if it happens.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I like Fatu now, because that's the guard tackle that we're talking about. Like he can just slide in if AVT gets hurt, or even if Tyron, and Carter is not ready. Like I really like having a top tier player that can come into the offensive line and make a difference, and still having another option for Aaron Rodgers, which is why I like the trade down for a tackle and Ricky Pearsall. If he falls into the second, boy, oh boy, would I be.
I love Ricky.
That would be a steal. So that's why I have it in that dream boat. We would be on the water, champagne in hand. So I don't know. I think Douglas feels like he's done a little bit with the offensive line. I hope he does not feel as comfortable with the offensive line as you do, Boy Green. Because they need somebody else. They need somebody else.
All right, let me ask you this before we get out of here. AVT, the Jets. It's actually a month from today. It's funny how that just worked out time-wise in my random question in my head. A month from today is the deadline for the Jets to make a decision on the 5th-year option of Elijah Vera Tucker's contract. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't think they push it to May 2nd. I think they're going to announce it probably in the post-draft thing. So Saleh Douglas speak after the first round, and then they also speak at the absolute conclusion of the draft, which, by the way, they have the final 2 picks. So it's going to be late on whatever that is, Saturday. So it'll be late Saturday night is when they address this. Is do you exercise, do you accept the 5th-year option on Elijah Tucker's contract, which is about $15.2 million fully guaranteed, which would lock him in for the next 2 years, or do you decline that and 2024 turns into a contract year and he becomes a free agent after? What do you do?
I personally, we've talked about this a little bit before when we went over the positions, and I personally would extend, or not extend, but I would accept. I would buy into the exercise. That was the word I was looking for. I would exercise that 5th-year option. For sure. I mean, he was looking like an all-pro both of the last 2 years. I mean, as long as Denver is not on the schedule, I'm feeling good. You know, I talked about Fontano because you want to be safe, but I'm actually feeling good about his prospects of playing. 15 mil is not too much. I mean, they're paying JFM even more than that, and
16 million is his cap hit for this year.
I'm about to get some new scissors because they're not working. So I'm perfectly okay with paying that amount to AVT, especially, this upcoming year. And then that next year, right, is when they have to worry about the 2022 draft class. So secure AVT for now, and then we worry about that after this season in terms of Garrett and Sauce and all that.
All right, one additional AVT question. You are the one that just put it in the universe. I don't know if he's going to be healthy because you're a jerk. That's what you are. Okay, what does your gut say? Elijah Vera Tucker, is he playing the majority, I'll call it 75% of next season?
I do. I'm willing to stand on that. James Wudi is here, willing to, you know what? Let me sign that, sign that.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, let me dot that I real quick. I think that he will play a majority of the games. They're not playing in Denver, so I feel good. I'm just saying better safe than sorry type, because as you see the Jets O-line, they be dropping like dominoes. But I have faith in Elijah, and I think he will play the majority. I think really the main person who I'm most nervous about is Tyron.
Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, I want to shout out the 500 plus people that are in here for our hour plus show today. Again, guys, I hope you can tune in on Thursday. For the first time, me and Wudi we'll give you all the details as we know them by Thursday for our dueling mock draft scenario. I believe we're going to be doing a 3-round Jets mock, and we're each going to be doing our own. We'll do one where we're a co-GM and we have to argue about the picks, and we're both in the draft war room. I'm like, you bastard, we got to do this. I'll do one of those, but we'll start off on Thursday with both of us doing a mock draft at the same time and sharing, whether me on the screen or Woody on the screen or what have you, we'll be sharing the things that are actually happening. And we'll walk you through all of our decisions. So I'm looking forward to that. So the 500 plus people in the room, make sure you guys, if you're on YouTube, like the video, hit subscribe down below. It helps the algorithm and spread out all the goodness. And also for everyone on Instagram, shout out to those crazy bastards and their Take Flight Today and everyone else who's out there. Feels like I'm at church. Preach on, brother. I'm sure that Take Flight Today was talking about me and not Wudi. I'm pretty sure that was the case there, obviously. No question about it. And then on Twitter, hit the follow button. So show all the love, everybody.
Boy Green, could you put up Tony the GM's comment talking about my YouTube?
Your YouTube. Let me see. I don't see that comment here. Let's see.
Scrub a little bit.
There it is. Okay.
Yes. So, Tony, I appreciate you. I thank you. I unfortunately do not really have a YouTube channel that is popping like that. The best place to see me on YouTube is literally Boy Green's channel. I'm exclusive Boy Green property.
That's right. He signed a lifetime deal. He's like in that Hercules thing where he's kind of like shackled to my YouTube channel, like he can't run.
I use the same pen to write that too, to sign that too.
In blood. Yeah.
But on Instagram, if you want to see some side things, and reactions to the moves as they come, like Justin Hardy, I reacted to that live. You can do at the James Wudi on Instagram for sure.
Appreciate that. And by the way, great note there on Hardy. Obviously, he signed with the Cleveland Browns earlier today. There's a lot of reactions to be had. I'll actually be doing that for mine. Woody already has given him his stuff, so go check it out on social. But I'll be waiting to gather my thoughts for Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning to give a proper send-off to Justin Hardy and everything that it means, the roster construction element, where he's gone, all that jazz. We'll be waiting to do that tomorrow morning live at 7:30. So hopefully you guys can check us out for that, and we can have a full-fledged conversation on that as well. Woody, it's great here at the radio station. It went off without a hitch outside of some of your back talk and some of your nonsensical draft takes, but those are to be expected, I'm sure. But off without a hitch, and I'm looking forward to Thursday.
Yes, absolutely. Can't wait. All right. I had a great time. I hope you guys had a great time talking about the tears. None on the cheek, just on the sheets.
We got to get that on a t-shirt. Not on the cheek, just on the sheet. There we go. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily to talk all things Justin Hardy to the Cleveland Browns. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Make sure, again, you like the video on YouTube, hit subscribe, and also check out my boy, the James Wudi, on Instagram. He'd appreciate that as well. God bless.